Good evening, everyone. Tonight, together with my partner, we will be discussing about the hypothesis testing and the steps of the hypothesis testing process. Pero before na, ang ako asang i-discuss is what is the purpose of hypothesis testing process, hypothesis testing, especially sa ato ang subject na psychological statistics. What is its purpose? So the hypothesis testing, it is a method of statistical inference used to decide whether the data at hand sufficiently support a particular hypothesis. So through hypothesis testing, mahibal-an nato whether ang atoang data or ang atoang variables has an effect with each other, whether ang atoang independent variable has an effect on dependent variable. So it uses sample data to assess two mutually exclusive theories about the properties of a population and the assumption about the population parameter which may or may not be true. So through hypothesis testing, mahibala nato whether ang atoang hypothesis mapadulong siya sa null or alternative hypothesis, which can be discussed later. What are these two and unsaon nato pagkabalo nga ang atoang hypothesis is null or alternative. So the probability value which was discussed sa atoang last reporter, it tells you how likely it is that your data could have occurred under the null hypothesis. So, sa probability value, the lower the probability value is, the higher the chance nga ang imuhang hypothesis mapadulong siya sa null hypothesis. So, what is the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis? So the null hypothesis, which is denoted with HO or the H note, it is the idea that nothing is going on. For examples, there is no effect of our treatment and no relation between our variables and no difference in our sample mean from what we expect about the population mean. So, sa null hypothesis, ang imuha jung makita ra diha, isa lang jud ang imuhang makita nga mathematical symbol, which is ang equal sign. Take note, equal sign lang ang imuhang makita nga mathematical symbol sa null hypothesis. And on the other hand, the alternative hypothesis, which is denoted with HA or H1, it is simply the reverse of null hypothesis. So if sa null hypothesis, there is no effect between two variables o sa alternative hypothesis na ay nagapanghitabo sa independent variable ug sa dependent variable na ay effect ang dependent variable sa imuhang dependent variable. And there are three options depending on where we expect the difference to lie. Unlike sa null hypothesis, the alternative hypothesis makakita ta og three mathematical symbol which are the less than, the greater than, equal, less than sign, greater than sign, and the equal sign. If ang imuhang hypothesis is alternative, ing-ani imuhang makita alternative hypothesis, the population parameter is greater than, or pwede po siya, alternative hypothesis, the population parameter is less than, or pwede po siya, alternative hypothesis, the population parameter is not equal to. Unlike sa null hypothesis, ang imuha lang makita is H0 null hypothesis, the population parameter is equal to. So sa null hypothesis, since equal sign lang man imuhang makita nga mathematical symbol, if in statement siya or in words, ang imuhang mabasa nga words sa imuhang hypothesis or sa imuhang statement are the words the equal to, same as, not, change from, and is. Unlike sa alternative hypothesis nga dagan siya, ang imuhang makita nga words sa not equal sign, if not equal ang sign, or ang mathematical symbol, ang imuhang mabasahan na words are the not equal, different from, change from, not the same as, and if greater than ang imuhang mathematical symbol, ang imuhang sang mabasahan sa statement sa imong hypothesis are the words greater than, above, higher than, bigger than, increase, and at least. And lastly, sa less than, if ang imuhang hypothesis in statement and naa ang less than nga mathematical symbol, ang imuha sang makita nga words, mabasa nga words sa statement are the less than, below, smaller than, shorter than, decreased or reduced from, and at most. So for example, a social worker wants to test whether the average body mass of pupil under feeding program is different from 18.2. If this statement is in null hypothesis in words, so mauna siya mohang makita kining H0 or null hypothesis, the average body mass of pupils is 18.2. From the word itself is, it means equal to. And if this statement is put into sa symbol, ang imuha pong makita is H0, the population parameter is equal to 18.2. And if this hypothesis is in alternative hypothesis in words, then ang imuhang makita, the average body mass of pupils is not 18.2 kilogram. And this is denoted into symbol, then kinipod ang imuhang makita. Alternative hypothesis, the population parameter is not equal to 18.2. So there are ways para mahibalan nimo if unsaon nimo pagkahibalo if ang imuhang hypothesis is null or alternative. So this is what we call the two-tailed. This is the two-tailed. This is the two-tailed test. So ginagamit ang two-tailed test if ang imuhang statement shows the equal sign or the equal sign and the not equal mathematical symbol. This shaded area, this mao na siyang ginatawag nila og reject region. So if ang probability value sa imuhang hypothesis is dira ra kutob sa shaded area or below sa 0.05, then ang imuhang hypothesis null na siya, rejected siya or null. Ang tawag ani shaded is ang reject region or the critical, pwede po siya tawagon ng critical region. And this kining larger part sa ato ang graph, mao na siya ang ginatawag na failed to reject region. And this, on the other hand, is what we call the one-tailed test. Ginagamit ang one-tailed test if sa imuhang statements or sa imuhang hypothesis naa ang greater than ug ang less than, no? So if ang imuhang hypothesis testing kay less than ang iyahang mathematical symbol, then ang tail sa imuhang one-tailed test is naa sa left. If ang sa imuhang hypothesis statement, ang word nga imuhang makita or the mathematical symbol is greater than, then ang tail sa imuhang reject region is ang naa sa right. As you can see, kini ang reject region or the alpha, pwede po siya tawagon og alpha, is 0.05. Then, ang imuhang hypothesis is rejected. Then, dili siya reject. So, mao to if ang imuhang shaded part kini sa imuhang ang score sa imuhang probability value is lower than 0.05, then ang imuhang hypothesis is null siya or rejected, meaning walay nahitabo between two variables. Dili makaapekto ang imuhang alternative variable sa imuhang ang imuhang independent variable sa imuhang dependent variable. Then, as you can see sa next slide, kini, ang ihang shaded p-value or ang ihang shaded critical value, naabot ang ihang score og 1.25. Then, mas taas man siya sa 0.05, meaning, ang ihang hypothesis, dili siya null, kundili naa siya sa sa alternative hypothesis. So, the next topic, which is the steps of hypothesis testing process, will be discussed by the next reporter, my partner.